Welcome to the Lovestead.
Hello, welcome back to Lady Lovestead Reads. My name is Jessica and this is my weekly reading vlog. It is Monday, October 11th, and I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. If you watched my last vlog, you'll know I had a really intense weekend. It was exhausting and I ended up sick to my stomach overnight last night. So I thought about calling off work, but honestly, it's not even worth it because it's going to put me so far behind tomorrow that I'll just end up sick again on Wednesday, right? So I am going to still work, and aside from that, I'm just going to try to have as restful a day as possible. I have to go tend to the chickens. That's the only thing that I have to do outside of the house. And yeah, like I said, I'm just going to try to be very restful amidst everything that I still have to do. I am no longer getting sick to the stomach, but I do still feel like a little queasy, a little weak, a little tired. Fingers crossed that a fairly restful day today will take care of it. Let's talk about what I am reading. So, audiobook. On audiobook, I am reading Amari and the Nightbrothers. And this is about Amari and her older brother Quentin goes missing. And everybody thinks he's gone missing because he's like engaging in, negative behaviors and gotten with the wrong crowd. But Amari is convinced that that's not the case. And so she wants to keep looking for him. And one day this mysterious stranger shows up at her door and says, "You have a package from your brother. It's upstairs in his closet." Weird, right? So she goes to his closet. She finds a briefcase. And when she opens the briefcase, she finds all of these like magical gadgets. And it turns out that they are from this like magical summer camp school thing. And so she ends up going to the school and getting admitted into the school because they find that she's got magic. And she doesn't really care so much about that. She just is there to find her brother. And this is Middle Grade Monthly's pick for, I want to say, February or March of this year. And I got behind on Middle Grade Monthly picks, and my friend Helen did as well. So we've been buddy reading these together to catch up. And we buddy read it back in September, but I actually didn't finish the book in September because I was reading for the BookTube prize. And so I was like 50 pages away from finishing reading the ebook. And so I decided this month to pick it up on audiobook. And then I listen to it while I'm at work or cleaning the house or that kind of thing. And so I'm re-listening to the whole thing and really enjoying it once again. And I'm excited to actually finish it this time. So that's what I'm reading on audiobook. I am also reading The Secret History by Donna Tarp. This is a dark academia literary fiction, and it's about a secret society. And I don't really know that it's a secret society so much as it's just like a group of students studying under this one professor that's pretty exclusive. We know from the prologue that one of the students ends up dead, and then the book flashes back and starts like at the very beginning where all the students were like meeting each other. I'm not very far in. I just started yesterday. I'm like 38 pages, but I really like it so far. I think the character development so far has been amazing, and I'm really curious to see where this goes. I am buddy reading this with my friend Lee from Dark Roots Creations. I will leave links to all the channels that I mention in the description box down below. I am also reading What If Jesus Was Serious by Skye Jethani. This is a nonfiction Christian text, and it is a deep dive into the Sermon on the Mount. It is a read-along that my church is doing, and I am on page 70. And so far I really like it. What I like about it is how digestible it is. Like, the chapters are really short. That's the whole chapter. And so it's easy to just read this for a couple minutes, step back and think about it, and try to make sense of what I read, and make sense of it in comparison to the scriptures. I think it's a really good study guide, and I am enjoying it so far. And then I'm also reading Hotel Transylvania by Quinn Yarbrough. This was published in 1978. It is I would say it's more of a historical, it's not even like a thriller or a horror. It's just a historical fiction that involves vampires, and there's a romance, and I'm liking it so far. I'm finding the writing style a bit challenging, and she's making me work to understand like what's happening with the characters, because part of what happens with her writing style is you have to read into what is not said just as much as you have to read into what is said to really know what's like going on and to really understand the characters. And so I'm finding that I have to work pretty hard to get this story, and I don't know that that is what I like in my cheesy vampire novels, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad book either. So I am halfway through, hoping to finish this, just this month at some point would be nice. And that does it for what I am reading. I don't have anything real intense planned for this week. Like I said, today I'm mostly just going to focus on resting and recuperating and getting what I can done in between that. So. Hello, it is Tuesday, October 12th, and I have a couple reading updates for you. So, I'm thinking about DNFing this Hotel Transylvania by Quinn Yarbrough. It's just, it's not bad, but it's just not what I'm looking for in a vampire novel, and I don't dislike it, but I'm also not like loving it. And I feel like if you're not loving what you read, it's okay to put it down. I can't decide if I want to put it down or not. I don't like how hard I'm having to work to read this. If this was like a Pulitzer Prize novel or a classic or a highly acclaimed novel, then I would put in the work for it, because there's a higher chance that it would be worth it in the end, and I don't know that that is the case for this book. I read some reviews online and people said that it's kind of the worst book in the series, but it's important to read because it sets you up with a lot of important characters if you want to continue the series. So maybe I should finish it for that reason, because if the other books in the series end up being really good, then it's helpful to have that background. I don't know. So what I think I'm gonna do is just set it aside for a while and read something else, because a lot of times when I'm in this space where I'm like, should I finish it, should I DNF it, if I put it down, that usually tells me what I should do, because sometimes I'll put a book down and then I'm like really craving to go back to the world or wondering what's going to happen to the characters, and then that is usually my sign that I should continue reading it and finish it. If I put it down and it completely escapes my mind and I don't even think about it and I have no desire to go back, that is usually when I DNF. So I am going to put this through the DNF test. And so I'm going to put it down for a while, and I picked up a different book. I've been craving cheesy romance lately. So on Kindle Unlimited, I checked out Pucked by Helena. This is the first book in a hockey romance series. It is labeled as a rom-com series, and it is definitely that. I read like 30 some pages last night, and it's funny. It's really funny. The main character has some great one-liners. It's quite smutty, so if that's something you're sensitive to, beware of that. So this is about a woman whose brother, her stepbrother, is a professional hockey player. And so she knows a lot of like hockey players and coaches and that kind of thing. And they go to her family goes to her stepbrother's game in Atlanta. He plays for the Chicago Blackhawks. Go Blackhawks. Chicago sports fan right here. So they go to his game in Atlanta, and there's like an after party that they're all attending, and she meets one of the players on the team, and like she's used to meeting these players who are kind of dumb and unintellectual and just playboys, you know. But this player kind of takes her off guard because he's quoting from literature and he's talking about books, and so he turns out to actually be pretty smart. And so they spend the night together, and things ensue from there. She's really torn, like, is he just a playboy or is this a real thing? And so that's kind of the conflict that's happening with this story. It's light and fluffy and smutty, and it's what I've been wanting to read right now. Kind of the total opposite of this one, actually. I also started reading Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kwame Mbalia, and this is a buddy read I'm doing with my friend Helen at Helen's Book Haven. And this was Middle Grade Monthly's April pick, I believe, for book club that we're trying to catch up on. And this is about Tristan Strong, who is training to be a boxer, and he loses his first match terribly. He has also just lost his best friend Eddie. Eddie died. I don't know yet how he died. And when Eddie died, Tristan was given his journal. And in this journal, Eddie kept all kinds of stories that he wrote, stories that he heard from people. And after he dies, Tristan sees that the journal is glowing, a green glow, and only he can see the glow. And his parents decide that for the summer they're going to send him to his grandparents' house in, I don't remember, Alabama? Is that where it is? It's either, yeah, Alabama, I think. So they're sending him south to live with his grandparents on the grandparents' farm. And he's not real happy about that, but he goes, and when he gets there, his very first night there, all of these creepy magical things start happening, and he starts going on this like grand adventure. So this book is based on African, West African, and African American folk tales, and I am enjoying it so far. I read 50 pages last night, and I'm having a great time. This has gotten bad reviews from a lot of people. Maybe it takes a turn, I don't know. But so far, I'm having a great time. So when you do that, do you move with her when she turns it on then?
No.
Okay.
That's all I'm asking. Get out of it. Now that she's doing it, I'm going to stop, change her.
Hello, it is Thursday, and I realized as I was working on editing this vlog a little bit that I never updated you on how I was feeling, because Monday I started out feeling pretty gross with a bit of a stomach virus, but that did seem to like just be a 24-hour thing. I was feeling much better Thursday, and then yesterday I was like probably 80%, and now I'm feeling like 100%, which is awesome. I do have a reading update for you. I finished Amari and the Nightbrothers. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. This is such a good, like, magical school story, and I love that it is representing Black communities here in the United States. Because every child deserves to be represented in their literature, and it was so good. There was a twist at the end that I didn't see coming, and it set up really nicely to have an exciting book number 2, which I looked up, is coming out next year in 2022, and it just was very well done. The pacing was really good. I think one of the strengths of this book was the pacing. B.B. Alston does such a good job of building up tension and then releasing it and building up tension and releasing it. And the end of the book was just like, so much happened all at once. And he also does a nice job with character development. Like, Amari is in my heart. She is just the sweetest thing. And it was really fun to see her develop throughout the book and grow as a character, and her friendships grow, and it just was good. Like, there was not a thing that I could find wrong with it, and as soon as it ended, I was like, I had like an Amari hangover, you know what book hangovers are like. Y'all are readers, but yeah, I had an Amari hangover. Ugh, so good. So I did give it 5 stars out of 5. I also finished Puck. No, not Puck. I also finished Pucked by Helena Hunting, which is a hockey romance. It's a book I read on Kindle Unlimited. This is labeled as a romantic comedy, and that's like exactly what it was. The relationship was pretty simple and straightforward. The writing was funny. I did laugh out loud at certain parts. And I mean, it wasn't like a blow my mind amazing romance. It didn't make me feel all the feels, but it was a really fun ride. So I gave it 3 stars out of 5. And now I've picked up on audiobook Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I'm just in a romance mood right now. So I picked up Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is book 1 in the Brown Sisters trilogy. And this is about Chloe, who has fibromyalgia, and she is almost hit by a vehicle and nearly has kind of like this her life flashes before her eyes kind of a moment. And so she puts together a list that she's calling her Get a Life Chloe Brown list of things that she wants to do, before she dies. And so now she's trying to do those things. I'm really not very far into it so far. I am like 13% into it, according to my audiobook thingamajiggy there. And then for the physical books, I am going to pick up One of Us Is Next by Karen M. McManus. And this is book 2 in the One of Us Is Lying series. I read One of Us Is Lying, I think I read it in August, and I really, really enjoyed it. This was supposed to be a buddy read with my friend Francois last month in September, and I ended up not getting to it because of the book 2 prize. And so I'm going to pick that up finally. And so far, I have had no desire to pick Hotel Transylvania back up. So it's not looking good. I'm going to make a decision by the end of the vlog whether or not I will finish it or DNF it. But right now, it's not looking good for Hotel Transylvania. So that is what I'm currently reading. And today I'm going to try to get all of my work done for the week. So I'll probably be at work pretty late into the evening because tomorrow I took the day off of work, and Brandon and I do this celebration every fall called Halloween Miss, where we take a day and we just celebrate the fall spooky season together. So what we do is we order like specialty popcorn. We have a popcorn bar, and then we make fall themed food and drinks, and we have a movie lineup of spooky movies that we just watch all day long. We also give each other presents to kick off the season, because we've got like a run of holidays and gift giving events starting in October through February. So like October we do Halloween Miss, November is Brandon's birthday, December is our anniversary, December is Christmas. And then February is Valentine's Day. February is my birthday. So it's like this whole season. We call it Brandica, which is like our two names combined, Brand and Jessica. It's the Brandica season because it's like every month we're doing something like to celebrate and we give each other gifts and that kind of thing. So we kick off the Brandica season with Halloween Miss. And Halloween Miss is tomorrow. wrap up the vlog. So this weekend, Friday we had our Halloween mess, which I showed you some footage of that. It was a lot of fun. And we just watched movies and ate popcorn and spent some time together. We gave each other gifts. So the gift that I gave Brandon was a set to tame crows. He's been talking a lot about how much he loves crows and corvids, and so we have a flock that hangs out around our house. So I got him the stuff that he needs to tame a crow. Now that doesn't mean we're going to keep a crow as a pet or anything, but it means that we're just going to be friends with the wild crows that live around here. So the supplies that you need to do that are some sort of water source in your garden, like a bird bath. So I got him a bird bath. You need some sort of similar, like a crow lookalike. So crows need to look in your garden and see what they think is another crow, so that they know it's like a safe space or whatever. So I got him like a Halloween decor crow that looks very crow-like, and then a crow whistle. And so he's learning how to blow this whistle to do different calls for the crow. So there's like a food call, there's like a danger call, there's a summoning call. So he's watching YouTube videos and stuff, and he's learning how to do all of these different crow calls. And I'll try to get a video of it at some point, because my cats, like when he does his practice with the whistle, my cats think that there's a crow in the house, and they get all like, where is that coming from? Where is the bird? It's so funny. So that's what I got him. And he got me a flippy, which I'll show you in my next vlog, but it's basically like this pillow that holds your book or your Kindle so that you're not having to hold it in your hands. And for me, with my hands, I have a lot of hand pain because of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So a flippy is going to save me a lot of hand pain when I read. And then Saturday, I had some family in town, and I didn't video that just to respect their privacy. Sunday, we tore down the bucket garden for the winter, and we moved the stands into the garage and the buckets up against the house, keeping the buckets outside through the winter so that the soil and the stuff that's left in the buckets can like process and decompose and that kind of thing through the winter. And yeah, that's what we did this weekend. It was a busy weekend, lots of stuff going on. The weather has been beautiful. It finally feels like fall outside. It's so, so nice. So for reading, I have made a decision about Hotel Transylvania. Since I put it down, I haven't thought a wink about it. So I'm going to DNF it. I don't want to unhaul it yet, because maybe in the future, I'm going to keep it. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I will keep it for a year. If in that year I don't pick it up, look at it, think about it, I will unhaul it. But I'm not ready to unhaul it just yet. So that's my plan. I am DNFing it. I'll keep it on my shelf for a year and just see what happens. On Halloween mess, Brandon and I, like it's a tradition for us to do this. We do this every October, but we read a short story by Edgar Allan Poe. I have this really nice leather-bound book full of Edgar Allan Poe's complete works, and we just pick a story every year that neither of us have read and read it for Halloween mess. So the story that we read was The Man of the Crowd, and I don't know, we both kind of felt like maybe we didn't understand the story totally, because it seemed like nothing happened. So in The Man in the Crowd, there's this guy, and it's told from first person perspective. He's in a cafe and he's just watching people walk by, and he's like describing in detail all the people that walk by the cafe, and it's set in London. And he kind of hones in on this one man and decides to follow the man around. Well, the man, I guess, just walks non-stop for like 24 to 48 hours, and this guy's following him that whole time, and that's it. Like, that's all that happens. And then at the end of the story, the main character's like, oh, this guy's pure evil. But he didn't do anything. Like, he just walked around the whole time. I I don't understand it. I don't get the story. So if you read the story and you have some insight into like what this story is actually about, please tell me, because I feel like I'm really missing something. We did a little bit of reading online to see like how people had analyzed it, and I guess some people feel like the man that he's following doesn't really exist, like he's either a ghost or like a figment of his imagination or that kind of thing. I guess that's like one theory of it, but like nothing about it was scary. And like there's just bleh. So if I had to give it a rating, I'd probably give it like a 1 star out of 5 for that story. Definitely not my favorite Poe story, but I can say I've read it, so that was something we read. I am still working on What If Jesus Was Serious. Really enjoying this. If you are of the Christian persuasion, I recommend this book. There was a section in here that really stood out to me when I was reading it yesterday about being content with what you have, not rushing, not being a part of the capitalist machine. So I'll just read you the passage. It's on page 93. It says, "Has it ever occurred to you that Jesus never hurried? There is no record in the Gospels of Jesus rushing or worrying. He trusted that his Father would provide for him, and he expected this kind of faith of his followers. When we live the Lord's Prayer, we learn to let go of our rushing. We learn to release our fear of not having enough and our striving for control. We begin to slow down, trust our Father, and discover that true life is not found in what we eat or drink or wear or drive." That really stood out to me. I have a bad habit of taking on too much. I mean, you've probably even seen that just in watching my vlogs. Like, I just take on too much. I try to tackle too much at once. And it leads to me just rushing. And I don't know for me that maybe part of it is like that fear of not having enough. Yeah, that is a big part of it, because I worry that I don't have enough time. Like, I worry that I don't have enough life left. I worry that, like, I'm not going to be able to do everything I want to do before I die. As morbid as that sounds. So, like, I always take on a lot at once. And then I end up rushing to try to get everything done that I need to get done. And so this passage really stood out to me, and I think it's something that I need to probably pray on and work on myself. So I wanted to share that in case any of you kind of relate to that. But yeah, as I said, if you're of the Christian persuasion or just curious about the Sermon on the Mount, this is a pretty good analysis of what we're actually supposed to do with the Sermon on the Mount. I have not read any more of The Secret History. I'm kind of setting this aside. The person I was buddy reading with decided to DNF. It just wasn't for her, which is totally fine. And then that frees up a little wiggle room in my schedule for reading. So I am still really liking this, and I will continue to read it and finish it, but I'm going to set it aside so I can read some other books that I need to get done, quicker or sooner. I have continued to read Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky. I am enjoying this book. I am about 37% through it, and I'm still not really seeing why people dislike it so much, because I'm having a great time. I do think it lacks a certain level of depth, and it's a little heavy-handed on the symbolism, but for a middle grade, sometimes you have to be heavy-handed on the symbolism for the kids to get it, right? So it doesn't really bother me at all, and it's making me laugh a lot. The characters are so lovable, and there's lots of action that keeps me invested. And it's going pretty quickly for me, considering everything else that I'm reading. It doesn't take me a lot of time to get a good chunk of that book read. So it's a quick read, it's a fun read. I'm liking it so far still. On audiobook, I didn't really read any more of Get a Life, Chloe Brown, because I was just out of the house and moving and doing things all weekend. So I will probably continue to read that in the coming week. And then I did get a good chunk of One of Us Is Next read. I am on page 136. So far, I really like it. My only complaint is that there are so many characters to keep track of. I'm having trouble remembering who is who. Like, there are a lot of characters for a thriller, because there are new characters that weren't in the first book in the series, but then all the characters from the first book are in this one. So, and even like the characters that didn't have a huge role in the first book are still being mentioned in the second book. So it's been a lot to keep track of, but I'm enjoying the plot and the pacing is really great. And I really like this new version of the Simon, even though obviously it's not Simon because of what happens in the first book, but the Simon copycat is being quite creative. And so yeah, I'm enjoying this, just having trouble keeping track of the characters. Okay, that'll do it for this week's vlog. I hope you're doing well. If you made it this far, go ahead and leave a ghost emoji in the comments for Halloween mess. And until next time, make sure that you continue to read good books, drink good coffee, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye!